What if the very same skills that make someone a dangerous criminal could also be used to protect the most vulnerable people in our society? Well, today we're diving into the incredible story of Ryan Montgomery, a hacker who went from being a federal target to an unlikely hero. It's a wild story about a complete transformation from a so-called black hat to a white hat. So to really get a handle on Ryan's journey, you have to understand the two completely different worlds he's lived in. We're going to start in the world of the black hat hacker, and I'll show you a real-world hack that demonstrates just how shockingly easy it is for your data to get stolen right out from under your nose. Okay, think about the last time you were at an airport or a coffee shop. You saw that free Wi-Fi network, and you connected, probably without a second thought. We all do it, right? But what if that network isn't what it seems to be at all? This is how simple the trap is. It's called an evil portal attack. A hacker just sets up a fake Wi-Fi network that looks legit. You connect, and boom, a login page pops up that looks exactly like, say, Google's. But here's the trick. It's not a real website. It's something called a captive portal. There's no URL bar at the top for you to check. It's just a phantom page designed for one thing and one thing only, to steal your info. The second you type in your email and password, poof, they're gone. The hackers got them. The guy who mastered attacks just like this one is Ryan Montgomery. But his story isn't just about the crime. It's about the complete 180 he pulled with his life, turning these incredibly dangerous skills into a genuine force for good. So how does someone even get started on a path like this? For Ryan, it wasn't some grand evil plan. It actually started, like it so often does, with just simple childhood curiosity. This quote from Ryan really says it all. As a kid, he got one of those old AOL floppy disks in the mail, and he was just mesmerized. He couldn't wrap his head around how this physical object could suddenly come to life on a screen. He said it felt like magic, and that feeling, that spark of curiosity, is what ended up defining his entire life. But that childhood fascination, it spiraled, and it spiraled fast. By his early teens, he was on forums like Digital Gangster, learning how to turn his skills into cash. But all that money he was making from hacking just fueled a deep and really dangerous drug addiction. It progressed all the way to heroin, and the whole thing came crashing down with a very serious arrest when he was just 17. That arrest was his absolute rock bottom. But it wasn't just the end of something. It was actually the beginning of a complete and total rebirth. This is the number that changed everything for him. 55. That's how many bags of heroin the police found on him when they arrested him. 55. And he was just a teenager. You know, he wasn't just charged with simple possession. He got hit with a first-degree felony, possession with intent to deliver. To put that in perspective for you, that's a charge in the same legal category as murder. This was his wake-up call. There was no ignoring this. He ended up serving 20 months. And he said that being physically removed from everything, the people, the places, all the things tied to his addiction, it gave him the space he needed. Something finally clicked. That forced separation gave him the clarity to finally change his path for good. So, you're out. You've got a clean slate. But what do you do with a skill set as unique as his? Well, this is where Ryan's story takes its most fascinating turn. He didn't just abandon his skills. He aimed them at a brand new target. Ryan took all that deep knowledge he had of hacking, of navigating online forums, of digital investigation, and he turned it into a weapon against online child predators. And just think about this duality for a second. It's the same fundamental skill set: finding info, exploiting systems, understanding how people behave online, but used for completely opposite goals. He went from stealing commissions and spamming people to helping law enforcement build actual cases against predators. It's incredible. And for a long time, he did all of this in the shadows. For more than 2 years, he was just the info guy. He worked behind the scenes for other YouTubers and organizations, giving them the critical intelligence they needed to identify and track down predators, all without ever asking for any credit. So what can the rest of us learn from someone who's seen the absolute darkest corners of the web? Well, Ryan's journey gives him a pretty unique perspective on how we can all protect ourselves and our families online. Okay, for parents, Ryan's advice is absolutely crucial. First, he stresses having open communication so your kids aren't ever afraid to tell you if something's wrong. Second, he recommends using monitoring software, not to spy, but as a safety net. It's also vital to be aware of the risks on gaming platforms like Roblox, where predators are known to lurk. And finally, and this is a big one, remember that just taking a device away can actually backfire because it might push them to use a friend's unmonitored phone instead. And just so we're clear, this monitoring software isn't about spying. Think of it more like a digital safety net. It's a tool that alerts you to keywords related to really concerning stuff, like bullying, self-harm, or predatory behavior. It lets you step in when it matters most. Ryan mentions a popular one called Bark, for example. And for your own personal safety, his advice is super direct. First, be incredibly wary of public Wi-Fi. We've already seen how easily that can be faked. Second, use an RFID blocking wallet. This prevents thieves from using scanners to wirelessly skim your credit card or key fob data right out of your pocket. A simple physical tip, always lock the door from your garage into your house. It's a really common weak point for break-ins. And finally, use data removal tools to scrub your personal info from the web. It just makes you a much harder target. In the end, Ryan's entire new mission really comes down to this one single, powerful question that he asks himself. If you saw a child predator in the park and you have the ability to stop it, would you just walk by? He sees his work not as a choice, but as a moral responsibility. A pretty powerful reminder that in the digital world, just like in the real one, we all have a part to play in keeping each other safe.